Thank you. Are you intimidated by thoughts of causing conflicts? Are you uncomfortable with giving and receiving criticism? Do you need to spend time roaming over past conflicts? Are you anxious about potential conflicts in the future? Okay, so these are the questions to ask whether you have the skills right now to be assertive or not. Our self confidence is strongly influenced by how we stand up for ourselves and respect we get from others. So, if we answer, are you intimidated by conflict or criticism? Do you sometimes overthink past conflicts? Then you're not really in that assertive mindset. Um, and confidence, that self confidence that is really needed for it. So, why is assertiveness is essential life skill? Research is not a solo. Whoops, excuse me. Your success at work will depend highly on how well you work with teams. So, in when we talk about the setting that we're in, for example, the group setting, you have supervisors and collaborators. In industry, we have people we have to work with, and the group setting specifically, we rely on each other's experiences to help each other become well. Why is assertiveness essential for life? It allows you to express your ideas with confidence, gain respect from others, advance, and within the group setting specifically, it gives others the confidence to be able to speak up for themselves. When they see the facilitator having healthy assertiveness within the group, that actually is a modeling technique that is beneficial for clients. So let's go through a three-part method of becoming an assertive with an example. Okay. Okay. Qualities of assertive communication is that you clear about your own ideas and needs, your listening skills, and we've talked about a lot of these things, listening to others to understand their viewpoint, not yours. Be open to alternative solutions that benefit others. Stick to the facts, leave emotions out of the discussion. Sometimes you can agree to disagree. And I will tell you this one here is important in a sense, especially in our work, where we may want to have empathy for a person and show care and concern. But one thing we always have to do as providers is making sure we keep our emotions in check, because we're supposed to be there as a helping figure. And when clients see us break down, then they do start to question about their own ability to, for example, recover or become a healthy person on their own. And so when it says leave, kind of keep your emotions in check and out of the discussion, it's really about making sure that you depersonalize, in a sense, the situation. Okay. An appropriate response, if there is reason to bring up emotions in a discussion, is putting it in the terms of the I term. So I felt when you stated that, I did this. Okay, so, but whenever possible, if it does not have any therapeutic purpose, it's important for the therapist to keep their emotions in check. Being assertive might be challenging at first. We tend to be passive, especially when we're coming out of the college experience, even though we already have some professionals in here. Is sometimes it can be intimidating to speak to clients or a professor in this example. Uh, we're constantly questioning ourselves. What will they think if I express my ideas? What if I say does not make sense? Will my professor in this case be angry if I disagree? And all of these statements are statements that inhibit us from even getting into a communication process with someone. Um, And so, again, within the therapeutic setting and within the group setting, this is one of the reasons why it's important to react assertively, but also learn how to ask questions as well. One of the reasons that many clients don't open up in the group setting is they often feel they're being talked to, but not asked of or answering any of the questions. So, three-step methods of assertiveness. First is to state the facts. And in our case, facts are those things which we can observe, right? Clarify your thoughts about the situation, why it bothers you. In our example, we want to say we want everyone to be listened to. We want to hear everybody's side. And so please correct me if I'm wrong and go through the situation with them. Explain your goals and how you would like the problem to be resolved. And again, in the case when we're in the group setting, it's being very specific and clear with what we want from our clients, and how we'd like it to be resolved. But remember, we can't jump from the beginning right to the end. Okay, we have to provide the opportunity for clarification. We have to make sure that everyone is heard within the group setting. So this is just kind of a situation where a supervisor is requesting more than what the individual feels like they should have in their work. And these are the things that go through the mind: more data collection, delays in publication. And this would be the assertive approach, is to request time to meet, mention that you would like to discuss the paper up front, do not discuss sensitive issues over emails, always assume that the other person is reasonable. So these are the things we enter into a situation with. Whoops. Set up a clear agenda. Corrections, in this case, the correction to the manuscript, why you think additional section beyond the scope of the paper. And then provide that ability to brainstorm about possible solutions. So again, state facts. You would like to discuss corrections to the paper in this case. Clarification, you do not think additional section is needed, and give reasons, but then also provide that brainstorming with the individual. Explain how you would like for it to be resolved. Okay, maybe it's doing an additional paper or sharing responsibility in this example with another student. Okay. Prepare yourself for disagreement. If there is disagreement, let the supervisor talk first. And this is important in the clinical setting as well. This is a kind of a school example. Be open to your supervisor's viewpoint. Ask questions. And this is important. Ask questions. Make sure you have a complete understanding of their opinion and get feedback on any potential alternatives to their opinion. If you cannot agree, set up a future meeting, more time to research, discuss situation with groups. Okay, so and this is basically what you would do in the group setting as well. It's also important before getting into a difficult situation is to practice open communication. Get support from coworkers and supervisors if you're stuck and can't resolve a problem. With more experience, you'll become more confident and assertive and gain respect of others. So let's assess your assertiveness skills. How do you cope with difficult people? Let's talk about the type of difficult people. Okay, so this is a list that came from Robert Branson of different types of potentially difficult people. I will say that I've seen pretty much all of these in the group setting. Okay. First is the hostile aggressive. This is a person who's very upfront and hostile. Then there's the complainers, those that are constantly complaining, can't find anything positive in life. Silent unresponsive. This is the individual that kind of hides and shuns and keeps away. And then there's a super agreeable, kind of the opposite, the person who is just always agreeing with whoever, even to opposing views, he'll agree with both views. The negativist, the person who basically says nothing's ever going to change, and why even try. And then there's the know-it-alls, the bulldozers and the balloons. And on the other side of that, there's the decisive. So the know-it-alls are the ones who always kind of, I will say, in the group setting, kind of give off the aura that they're kind of the ones that should be listened to. And then the indecisives are kind of the opposites, where they're kind of hard time making decisions about things. And then you have the extremely hands-on, which is a super busy type, and the excessively hands-on, and this is the micromanager. Okay, micromanage everything. Okay, so these are kind of the 9 kind of types of difficult people that we often run into. So let's take a few of these first: hostile, super agreeable, indecisive, and excessive hand-on. Okay, hostile aggressive characteristics is they're notoriously antagonist and impolite. They're very confrontational, raise their hand, use strong language. They tend to crush all your ideas and try to make you, as a facilitator in this case, look like a fool. Okay? I'm sure we all know one of these individuals in our lives. How do you deal with a hostile aggressive? No one can make you feel inferior without your consent, as Eleanor Roosevelt once said, and keeping in mind that when dealing with hostile aggressive, one of their mind goals is to make you feel less about yourself or feel less than them. And so it's important not to get emotional, even if they try to humiliate you. In fact, one of the things that is always a scorecard with working with hostile aggressive is when they can't get you emotionally aroused and negative. Let them calm down and acknowledge their opinion. Just let them cool it, acknowledge their opinion, and direct the conversation towards solving the problem instead of it being something that is personal about you or other group members. Super agreeable characteristics. This is the person who's very friendly, tells you all the things you want to hear, makes very empty promises. They do not follow through on an assignment. Great at making excuses. Okay, so this is the person who is in the group that is there always being the nice person, but really doesn't accomplish anything within the group, such as doing homework or any of those types of things. Okay. So how do we deal with the super agreeable? Do not rely on the super agreeable to help you with work that needs to be done. I wouldn't give them a group assignment that the entire group would need to learn something from, for example. Complete much of your work as you can on your own. Make it easy for them to do their part, giving very clear recommendations. If they need a letter of recommendation, write an outline to make it easier for your thesis. If you need, you wouldn't find this in the group setting, but sometimes group participants will ask you to write them a letter of support. Maybe it's for legal reasons or other reasons. Make sure that you have them provide you with an outline of what they feel like you should state in that, and be very careful with the wording that you use. So what about indecisive individuals? These are people who are hesitant about making any decision. swayed easily by new data or opinions. As soon as progress is made, they change. They tend frequently are perfectionists, and they tend to be frustrating to other students, employees in this case, because they can hold up progress. Okay. So how do we deal with these? Take leadership of your end of a project or group process. Emphasize advantage of one participant's project. Be assertive about your ideas. Again, it's that role modeling. Find out their reasons for being so indecisive through the group process. If you need to, get support from other coworkers or other professionals. Let your indecisiveness boss know about any decisions you make and why. Okay. Again, that comes down to that role modeling aspect of working with those individuals. And then let's look at the excessively hands-on. Okay. Excessively hands-on or micromanagers, they give you too much attention, question every detail of your project or work habits, expect you to be working around the clock or working for them all the time, often calls after hours. With these individuals, you want to set boundaries, let them know when they can get in touch with you at your office, for example, and what times. Be assertive about why you want to set boundaries. Again, this is modeling. It's an important trait to be doing. Get important agreements in writing with these individuals. Keep again, whoever's clinically supervising you about the how you're working and progressing with these individuals. So let's talk about how to cope with chronically difficult, in this presentation, it's bosses, but we can say clients as well. And when resolving conflict, and I'm going to put this in the group modality, understand what your client's expectations of you are. And make sure that when you meet, you have a very clear agenda for everything you need to talk about. Explain the problem and stick to the facts, not how they made you feel or how they make others feel. Facts. Define how you would like the problem to be solved. Listen to your client's point of view. Get important agreements in writing, even within the group setting, especially when you have people who are chronically disruptive in groups. That way, if you have to call them on it again, you can say, do you remember when we put this together and we agreed to this? Always follow through on your end of any part of the deal that you make with the client. So this rule number 2, difficult people respond to assertiveness, but you need to be more persistent to get your point across. And that's the other part of dealing with difficult clients is they know when you're not being consistent with the way you're treating the group, or you're bringing in kind of your stuff from your day into the group setting, and they will note that and in some ways try to make your day even harder, or they might use it in their advantage. And this is an important thing to state, is don't take difficult people personally, okay? Difficult people are difficult with everyone, even though it may not look like it, okay? And remember this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt that says, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So let's talk about communication mistakes. And what is the biggest? The biggest is lack of communication, when things are just let go too long, okay? In the group setting, what we're trying to do is to teach our clients not only how to help them with whatever symptomology we're working with, but how to communicate what they need and what their needs are. Other common mistakes: if I disagree with someone, they will be dislike me. That's a kind of a myth. Expecting supervisors to solve, expecting a clinical person to come in and solve the problem for you in the group setting. Taking criticism personally or becoming defensive or emotional during the meetings with the individuals. And we shouldn't be doing this anyways with our clients, discussing sensitive issues over email. That should always be done in person or virtually, as we do, for example, Zoom. Okay, but this number 3 probably is the biggest one within the group setting. So let's take on each one of these. The biggest one is the disagreement. Someone, they will dislike me. That sounded weird. This assumption can lead us to becoming passive in the group setting, and I've actually seen this in the group setting as a clinical supervisor. Is a lot of my supervisees would go, I don't think the group likes me. I don't, and I notice that throughout their groups they start speaking less and less to the group and kind of avoid trying to make any real truthful conversation. It is possible for two people to disagree yet maintain very collegial relationships, and that's okay. Your goal is to build a professional relationship, okay? And I'll put this in the sense, therapists have more respect for clients who have courage to express their opinions. And this is actually true in the college setting as well. Use the 3-part assertive techniques to resolve disagreement without jeopardizing your relationship. Expecting a supervisor to solve problems, or someone within the agency. Taking criticisms personally. Okay, when receiving criticism, resist the urge to become defensive. Do not screen out positives and ask questions for clarification. When giving criticism, stick to the facts, know your facts, leave emotions out of the discussion, and propose possible solutions. Okay. Now, criticism is often confused with what's called constructive feedback. With criticism, we're doing a more direct, listen, you messed up. When we're doing constructive feedback, we're building off of what they've done right. And this is why when we go back to this is why this is important, is not to screen out any of the positives. Okay. Discussing sensitive issues over emails, we really don't need to send this. We really shouldn't be emailing clients anyways, unless it's a part of their agreement or we know about it. So good news is that truly only a small population is difficult. Most people respond well to assertive communication. Many jobs require teamwork, and in group setting, it's essential. All right, so we got through that one pretty unscathed, I think. Does anybody have any questions about the assertive presentation?
Dr. Peterson,
Yes.
I think one of the things that I face is when another facilitator allows the group members to run, and you're in the next time slot, and they expect the same thing of, we have another facilitator, they're not gonna, I don't want to use the word control, but we can manipulate the session to go the way we want to. And I think that's where being assertive is very helpful.
Yeah, Klein, I agree with you. Sometimes when we think of these skills, we think about it for a client provider, And your example is perfect about when you have co-facilitators, right? Or facilitators for other groups or something that then kind of um, do what you talked about, right? And making sure that you're not railroaded by another co-facilitator is important. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay. All right, gang. Well, that's all I have for today. I think I think we've hit all the topics pretty specifically. So I'm going to say let's go ahead and we won't have class on Thursday.